Warning. The Dragon Between podcast may contain language and adult humor that is unsuitable for those 13 years and younger. Viewer discretion is advised.
You're listening to the Dragon Between podcast, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Eberron pulp fantasy setting created by Keith Baker. New episodes are recorded every Sunday and released on the following week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel for clips and future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates and news on the podcast. And now on with the show.
When the characters last met, the duo of Ender and Gunthral found themselves in a bit of a hot water at a situation at a local tavern in the town of Zilspar. After a brief altercation which resulted into the deaths of some patrons and other individuals, the duo found themselves on the run from the guard of the town. Their companions rushing to the scene and speaking to a few of the locals and the local constables eventually reconnected with their friends at the city gates and then exited the city utilizing the Castellanter Corporation horseless carriage. The group then continued on the road, finding that the carriages themselves were very comfortable and they could very easily take their rests while allowing this horseless carriage to continue on to their destination of the border between Braylon and Zilargo, and then on to Trolanport itself. The group ran over the previous situation involving the row at the Drunken Cobbler Tavern between Ender and Gunthral. And the duo were also brought up to speed on the goings-on of what happened at the middle of the town square with the display and the Mackenzie woman from the Castellanter Corporation who agreed to allow the group to take the vehicle and deliver it to Trolanport. The group also went over the fact that it was very possible that Elric Fateweaver and Rosalind were potentially involved in the theft of one of these demo units, the Totorums. The group continued on and traveled along the road eastward, eventually, after a few days of travel, coming to a stop near a massive floating fortress city known as Argonth, and began to separate once again, Gunthral and Auri staying behind in the vehicle while Eli, Lithana, and Ender headed off into the market, the center of this strange, colorful carnival which had erupted sort of like a tent city around the base of Argonth. Within this carnival, the trio headed inwards and were greeted by a strange old woman who identified herself as Madame Vostra and offered to tell their fortune for a coin. Ender then accepted the offer and was told cryptic things about the party's recent ongoing events and potential future events, and more specifically, something relating to Ender himself and his personal backstory, his personal history. Meanwhile, back at the horseless buggy, Gunthral and Auri decided to transform into their animalistic forms and head out into the tall grass on the edges of the market square, heading away from the base of Argonth. As they began to track strange smells and pass through the tall grass, they suddenly came upon a clearing, at the center of which appeared a fresh kill, which was unusual, but not as unusual as the sight before them. A duo of tigers, one of which had a very pronounced ridge of matted fur that traveled down between the tiger's shoulder blades all the way down to its tail. Before they had a moment to act, this larger tiger of the duo suddenly morphed and transformed into that of the visage form of Kasha, the hunter that the group had met a few days prior.
Gunny will shift back into human form slowly.
Okay.
I need to make a roll on it.
Nope, you don't have to make a roll. You feel comfortable, and it's almost like a reflex now. You first feel as though, shifting from that animalistic form of the tiger, you feel as though you can now halt the complete change and stay in that hybrid form if you wish to do so.
So, what
no
is this gift that you gave me?
Hour you watch now is Gunthral and this Kasha woman are now standing a few yards away from each other, both staring at each other, and are both quite nude. It's dark. You're not able to see too much detail, presumably for the betterment of yourself. And the tall, mohawked woman now looks to you, Gunthral, and says, "We haven't finished yet. Please, you're welcome to join in." And she gestures over to the smaller tiger, who is currently, you can hear the wet smacking and crunching of bones crushing.
Your
and
sister,
you can,
I assume.
Seeing now, Kasha looks to you, Gunthral, and she says, "Is it that obvious? Lorana, please. I know you're modest, but please reveal yourself to our friend here." And again, that shimmering effect that you once saw before of Kasha morphing from the tiger into the bipedal humanoid form. You see Lorana now doesn't shift all the way, she shifts into her hybrid form, so that she's bipedal, but her limbs are elongated and her fingers are outstretched. They're not quite paws, but more clawed hands. And she doesn't speak, but she just sort of slow, guttural purring noise as she's wiping the side of her face and trying to make herself look presentable in her were-tiger form. And she says, "Oh, hello, Gunthral. Hello, I presume that's your druid friend. Hello."
Well, hello. So, Kasha, what is left to be done? I do not understand this gift completely.
Well, Gunthral, you must understand that this sort of thing is not bestowed to anyone. We don't just bring random travelers into our family, so to speak. We have to be careful. But I sensed in you power, and you appeared to be, at the very least, not a dullard, even though you are simple words and direct actions. I was hoping that you would benefit from joining our family, if you were agreeable. It has not been a full week yet. You can deny this gift that I have bestowed upon you and have it removed if you wish to do so. That is your choice. And she now gestures to Lorana. Lorana can perform the rites. If you wish to remove this from yourself, she can do so this evening. But
No, there's a gift that my god wanted me to have, and now that I'm here, just want to learn more on what I can do and what precautions I need to take.
Well, I don't know how much you know about our kind. Wares and lycanthropes in particular, as most folk know, have been hunted nearly to extinction in Corvair and beyond. Most of our kind has retreated to other non-coterminous planes of existence, specifically the Twilight Forest, or Lamania as it is known. So when I say to you that it is a gift, and some consider it to be a curse, because they only deny its power and what it can offer one such as yourself, who is already such a formidable individual.
Oh, you jest. But this gift is appreciated for the moment. If it's the will of my God, then I shall retain it.
It is surprising, to say the least, that we find you yet again on the road. It's surprising to me that you made it to this destination in the rate of speed that you did. How is it that you came to do so?
Well, the spirits provide, and we follow. That is why we encountered each other again, so I may learn more.
And as you've been talking, Kasha has been reaching down to her calf, and in the twilight, she has reached down and grabbed something that was attached to her calf, and she is unrolling what appears to be a loincloth, an assembly of clothing, very thin material to cover her make herself a bit more modest in the presence of yourself and Auri. And she says, well, at any rate, we will not keep you and your companion. We will finish our dinner, and then we will continue on to our destination in Zalago.
Is there anything that you need assistance with or help?
Well, perhaps you could allow some of the spirits that you have at your disposal to allow us to travel to our destination a bit quicker. We are a bit behind, and I'm afraid that we may miss our rendezvous in Trolanport.
Just by chance, how many seats are open in the car?
The vehicle is able to fit 6 medium-sized individuals. So you could cram another person in there. It wouldn't be very comfortable, but you could, in theory, or if one of your companions wanted to attempt to ride on the roof of this thing, you could always try that as well.
I could go into a smaller form.
There you go.
Or someone can sit on my lap.
Yeah, I could just turn into a cat and lay on your lap the whole time.
I think he was referring to a different kitty.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Well, you know.
I think I'll sit on Lathana's lap as a cat then, thank you.
Okay.
I was going to say something else.
So Lorana now steps forward and she says, I'm very curious about these spirits you speak of. Do you have some sort of spectral steed or some sort of winged creature that you were able to fly here with your companion?
Well, I think it's more of a invention or something of some magical ability. No mystic creature. Maybe in the future the spirits I follow would grant me one, but currently they allowed us to have access to something new, something created by people.
So some sort of arcane contraption. Very curious. That's very curious indeed. Well, we're going to finish our dinner here. Sorry, Kasha, I didn't mean to overstep my bounds. Kasha just sort of shoots her a glare, and Lorana continues. You can tend to whatever you wish. You can stay here with us if you will. We were planning on riding out in the morning, but if we can work out some sort of arrangement, possibly we could travel with you. We do need to meet the dignitary in Trolanport, sister.
I'm sure we're all headed in the same direction, so I don't see any issue, but it'll be up to the others. So if we feast, continue, and then maybe meet with them back at the
And when you say feast, her honey golden irises, you can just see the vertical slits of her pupils sort of widen a bit. And she goes, "Oh, my manners." And she reaches down into the pile of whatever this creature used to be, and she pulls up like a handful of intestines and hands it towards you. "Here you go. Eat, please."
I'll shift to the hybrid form and feast.
Okay. What about you, Alri? Kasha's been sort of hanging back watching this whole exchange with her hands on her hips.
I'm just going to kind of lay over to the side and watch Gunny and wait for him to be ready.
Okay.
You're not going to eat or shame to let this meat go to waste. It'd be detrimental to the environment if we do not consume. It is the way.
I just kind of look at him and cock my head back and forth and just put my head back down.
Well, we got a vegetarian wolf.
I shake my head. I'm just not hungry.
Well, they don't try to cover it. Gunny doesn't try to cover himself up. He don't care.
Okay. Kasha, just giving her a glance, Gunthrower, she appears to be just sort of grinning. And in the twilight and the moonlight, she's just sort of taking you in.
I growl at her a little bit.
She seems to be inspecting your hybrid form. And she just sort of nods approvingly and gestures towards the carcass.
I'll go feast and try to start up a conversation with her about maybe learning how to control it a little bit better, strengths, weaknesses, because I know nothing of the were form, so I'll explain it to her.
Sure. She will have a sit with you and offer you some of more of the carcass and just continue to have a conversation with you. And you're able to learn quite a few things about the were, which I will reveal to you. If you have questions, just ask me. In the meantime, we will transition back to your friends who are back in the carnival in the market square.
Are we, are three of us standing outside that tent still? Is that where we left off?
Yes, you just exited that area. And you can see now that there's a crowd milling about in the distance. The crowd is, for the most part, they're very calm. They're not being too rowdy. They're not really paying you much attention. The gentleman who Vostra sent off with a list of things, I presume you gave them of what you needed to replenish your supplies. After some time, he comes back and he says to you that he was able to get everything that you require. And then he looks to each of you and he says, "Well, is there anything else that you wish to purchase while you're here in the market? There's many different shops that pop up within the Carnival Row."
Yes, I'd like, is there any spell scroll shops? And also gem shops?
Gem shops? Magical shops?
Yes.
I believe you would want to visit Pavel. Pavel has a shop he calls Pavel's Delights. It's an extra dimensional shop. And he gestures down the carnival row along past the tents that are lined up, the multicolored tents. You can now see what appears to be the outer facade of a building. But that's it. There's no building. It's just the outer facade standing up. You can see windows, you see doors, you see a grand wooden carved griffin. And the griffin is holding in its claws a lyre, a musical instrument called a lyre. And the wooden griffin seems to be animated. And you can see that one of its claws, from this distance, it looks like it's playing music. Above the sound of the music that has been constantly playing from the bands in the carnival, you can see that there's another very faintly sound of a lyre being played away from where you're standing with your companions. And the man now gestures as, "Ah, yes, Pavel's Delights. He's a goods tradesman from Trolanport."
Ah, okay. Looks like we should head there, everyone.
Sure, that's fine with me.
I'm going to stay close to them and follow.
I'll start walking towards the way he pointed.
Okay. And again, you see all manner of animals. You see arcane devices, mechanical constructs beyond just the Warforged. The painted Warforged on the rhinoceros. I said it right this time. And the elephants that were milling about the crowds. You eventually make your way to the outer facade of this shop. And again, it looks like the front of a building. But it's just the front of the building. There's nothing connected to it. And you can see within the interior of the building, you can see individuals milling about inside.
Is there like a door or like a why to walk in?
Yep, it looks just like your standard building, standard shop. It's got your standard 5-foot wide door with a handle that you can just open up if you wish to.
Never seen anything like it.
No, I have not either. And as we're walking and as we're approaching the shop, Leithana wants to just keep a tail and look around and make sure no one is following or no shady figures.
Okay, if you like, you can make a perception check there, Leithana.
24.
Just giving a glance, you're able to meld into the shadows, the deep shadows amongst the tents. Looking around, you see cheery faces, you see people young and old, dwarves, gnomes, you see a few elves, you see a few half-elves, Korvar. You can see individuals potentially of dragon-marked lineage milling about the place, but they don't seem to really give any of you, Ender, yourself, or Eli, any sort of second look or second glance.
It looks clear to me right now. Should be good to go in.
Stay cautious.
I'll head inside.
Okay. The interior of the shop is warmly lit with ever-bright lanterns. There's a smell in the air of a very clean aroma of like a cherry wood. And looking around, the floor is just this beautiful lacquered wood floor with rugs in places for comfort. There's a rug that's a large oval-shaped rug which has a motif on it that's the different thread, different colors, golds and silvers, purples, and it seems to depict what appears to be a depiction of the last war, and you just see Warforged lined up on one side. You see what you would presume to be armored warriors of some nation, which are lined up on the other side, and you see beasts of burden and enormous mechanical constructs in the background, and in the foreground you just see warriors rushing towards each other. And as you're staring at this tapestry, this rug, the image seems to ripple and move, almost as if it is animated, as if you're looking into an actual like scene, but it's in thread form. It's not a photograph, like it's not a picture. It's not, for example, what you would have seen on the Atlas slates or on the view screen back in Sharn. And you see little knights made of Afghan material, which are rushing across the battlefield with their little weapons raised up. And as you're watching this, you look around the shop. There's a couple of kids who are watching this as well, and there's one who's on his tummy with his hands cupping his chin, and he's staring at it, and his friends, the portly little girl, is pointing at it, and she's laughing. And as you're doing so, you now hear a sort of a ahem. Can I help you, sir? And
yes.
As you look up, you see an elven man, and he's wearing a sort of a light turquoise shirt, and he's got long flaxen gold hair, clearly of elven descent, and he is just sort of resting his elbow on the counter, and with the other hand he's gesturing, and as he's doing so you see a magical quill which is moving on its own on the table in front of him and is writing something out. And there's another customer that's not too far away from you. He appears to be writing like a list of something for this individual, and he looks to you and says, "I'll be with you in just a moment. Please browse if you wish to." And he looks beyond you. If Lithana and Ender, did you also enter the shop?
Yes.
I'm right beside him. If he goes in there,
Okay.
I'm just going to be constantly watching over him because I'm going to assume he's going to get himself into some kind of danger.
Dexter, could you please handle the rest of this customer? These individuals seem to be of some importance. Oh, please, my friends, I apologize. I presume that you're traveling together, the three of you, yes? And he gestures now to Lithana and to Ender and to you, Eli.
Yes, we are.
I've not dealt with you before. I must apologize. My name is Pavel Starsong. Welcome to my shop. This is Pavel's Delights. What can I do for you today?
I'm looking for a spell scroll.
Spell scrolls. I deal in spell scrolls. I also deal in potions. And I also deal in a few magical knickknacks. A few things that I've brought with me to the carnival that you might perhaps be interested in. Everything, of course, is at a discount. It is at the carnival discount. Everything is 25% off today.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, of course. Now, what can I do for you today? Is there something specific that you're looking for?
Yes, I'm looking for a few spells.
Spells? I can do that for you, absolutely. Now I have some pre-prepared. If you wish, I can read off a list to you, and you can tell me if you're interested. I have quite a few, actually. And he turns around now and he pulls out a large bag, and he sets it on the counter. And he then reaches into the bag and he starts pulling out scrolls after another, one after another, and stacking them in sort of like a pyramidal stack in front of him. Let's see, I have a Scroll of Arcane Gates, I have a Hero's Feast, I have Charm, Monster, Innovation, Blur, Enlarge and Reduce, Flame Arrows, and he just keeps on going on with the list. And he then turns and looks to you, Ender, and you, Lithana. I have things for you as well, fine folk. If you're interested in weapons and armor, I have enchanting things if you're interested. Always happy to patron the folk who travel around and take care of the ne'er-do-wells that would prey upon folks such as myself.
Ah, yes. How much for that enlarge reduce?
Enlarge, reduce. Well, let's see. Ordinarily, that's 126 gold. But today, since I am offering it at a discount, let's see. And he's sort of running, like, in his head. You can see him, like, running the tally. I can let that one go for 95 gold.
95? Alright, here you go. What
Was
about
that
the charm monster?
Charm Monster. That one is a bit more expensive. That is ordinarily it runs for 870 gold. And he's doing the math in his head, and he goes like, we could settle up and say 650 gold for the Charm Monster.
Ooh, 600?
Yes.
Hold up on that one.
No, and he's holding the scroll up. It's a very, very lovely vellum paper, and you can see just the outer edges of it. You can see this silver, almost a platinum-colored filigree on the edges of the scroll, on the outside of the scroll.
There's a few more important ones that I'd probably should buy first before I make sure I have enough.
Very well.
Do you have slow?
I don't have that one with me. I do, however, have it in a book. And it might, of course, it's not quite as simple selling to you writing out of a book. I don't normally allow folk to read from my books, but I could possibly prepare a scroll for you if you gave me some time.
Do you know how long it would take?
Oh, I could possibly have it to you in a couple of hours. It really depends on how busy we are this evening. As you can see, there's lots of folks who've come to Bavel's Device to shop.
Eli, we should stay on the quick side here. We've
I
already...
know.
Yeah.
I know. I just... what about, do you have Mind Spike?
Mind Spike?
Yes.
I'm afraid that's another one that I did not bring with me. Again, other than the list that I gave, and a few others, I truly don't think... I think most of my stock has sold down. This stack of scrolls here, and he's gesturing to the ones that are in front of him, this is unfortunately all I have to offer for this evening.
You happen to have haste in that stack as well, or no? That one's sold out as well.
No, I'm afraid I do not.
Oh, okay.
I do have Awaken, if you're interested in that. That is a very powerful spell, though. Ordinarily, that goes for nearly over 1,000 gold. It's a very powerful spell. Are you sure you could handle something like that?
And how much would that is that?
As I said, it's normally goes for 1050, so 25% off of 1050. So it would be roughly 260 gold less.
Ooh. And what? I'm not familiar with Awaken. What does it do?
What Awaken is it's a very interesting spell. Awaken is essentially a spell that allows you, and he's sort of going, he's like, it's tricky. I haven't used it in quite some time. If you'll indulge me. I believe, let's see, you can touch a huge or smaller beast or plant. The target must have either no intelligence score or an intelligence score of 3 or less. They gain an intelligence of 10, and the target also gains the ability to speak one language you know. If the target is a plant, it gains the ability to move its limbs and roots, vines and creepers, and so forth. It gains a sense similar to a human's. The awakened beast or plant is charmed by you for 30 days or until you or your companions do anything harmful to it. So essentially, it's like creating a buddy for a beast or a plant.
Holy crap.
It's a very powerful spell.
Do you happen to have any gems that are worth 100 gold piece?
Well,
And
of
we
course.
can maybe...
And he gestures behind him to the table behind him, and you can see now various stones of different types that are suspended behind a glass case. And he just sort of gestures with a sly smile. Well, of course, my friend. I deal in all sorts of components for magical spells as well. I take it that's what you're looking for.
Yes.
Well, I can I can provide something for you, of course, at the 25% off.
Could we make a deal?
Everything must go, and he sort of yells that out to the shop around you, and it's sort of a shrill noise, and he just sort of he realizes how loud he said it, and he just sort of covers his mouth. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem. Can I make a deal with you? Since everything must go, I can buy the enlarged reduced, the awaken, and the charm monster, and 400 piece gems for 1,500.
1,500?
Yes.
1,500? My friend, you have a deal.
All right. Thank you.
Before we exit, I'd like to talk into the ring and see if Ari or Gunny they need anything from the shop. Maybe we can pick up something extra.
I hand him 1,500.
Okay.
I'm in my wolf form, so I'm just gonna nudge Gunny and shake my head no.
That'd be a no.
The gentleman hands to you a beautiful felt bag in addition to your 3 spell scrolls, Eli. And it's sort of like a foresty green felt, and it feels really nice to the touch. And it's closed, cinched closed with a bit of material that's a threaded material. And he says, "These are the largest pink pearls that I carry, and each one is worth 100 gold."
Ah, thank you. Thank you so much.
And the you can feel within it's like large marbles, like huge marbles inside of it, and you can hear them sort of gently clacking together. And Ender, you said that you were attempting to ascertain with the rest of the group if they were interested in items.
Yeah. I was looking for a window to jump in and make sure we're making this trip as useful as possible.
Sure thing. After the transaction is complete, and go ahead, Eli, we'll start identifying and dropping those into your inventory.
Hey, Eli.
Yes.
You know, it was you who take that changeling stuff in the bar, right? The one that tried to attack you.
Yes.
Do you still have its armor? I noticed that it could change to whatever that you wanted it to be.
Well, I think we still have it. I haven't been able to identify it. That is why I got the gems for it.
Ah, I see. Well, then I wouldn't wait. But, does anyone else need any?
And Lithana, as you're looking around the shop, you see an absolutely gorgeous longbow.
Whew. On the second thought.
This thing is immaculate. It is made of just a beautiful wood, and it seems to be reinforced with some sort of metal that is sort of a bronze gold colored metal, which is interwoven in places and reinforced the bow. And you can see that it has a bowstring on it that is almost imperceptible to the eye until you look at it from a certain angle.
Excuse me, Pavel. What does this bow do?
Oh, that! Oh, that is a special one. Now, that, my friend, is... I believe that is called the Vicious Longbow. And what I mean by vicious is that when you attack with it, in addition to the damage that it does normally, and you perform essentially, if you perform a crit with it, you deal an extra 7 damage. In addition to that, your attacks are magical with this longbow.
Lithana's eyes transform into anime star.
And there's a couple of other things. There is you see some bags that are hanging, sort of ornate-looking bags. One of them has like a face on it. There's a very beautiful greatsword, a great axe, and then there's a couple of boxes that are in the corner that are closed off from the public, and they're sort of held behind like these, just sort of like a tape. Like a sort of an elaborate silken tape that is hovering in midair and marking it off so that people can't wander back there and touch them without being attended. And you also see beyond that an area of the shop which is completely blocked off from the public with this royal blue curtain which completely blocks it. And it's a section that is closed off, but there appears to be something beyond it. Like every so often, like someone opens a door behind you and the wind blows the curtain a little bit, and you can see just beyond, you catch a glimpse of what appears to be rows of armor. So Pavel looks to both you, Ender, and Lithana. My patrons, friends, please, but of course, what can I do for you two fine folks?
And how much is the vicious longbow?
Oh, my dear, for you, let's see, ordinarily something of this quality goes for about 3,000 gold pieces. But of course, with the discount today, I could let that go to you, young lady, for a mere 2,250 gold pieces. And of course, I stand behind everything that I sell in my shop. Everything is of the highest quality. The only reason why I offer this sort of a discount today is, well, this is for the fine folks from Argonth. The soldiers, they come in and they ply their wares and purchase items from me. And of course, I want to do what I can for our neighboring nations, the nation of Brayland. I myself have lived in Zalago for many years.
She looks at Pavel and she pulls out her longbow. What about a trade or maybe I can turn this in for a deeper discount?
And he looks at your longbow. You're referring to your standard longbow?
Yeah.
He just sort of looks at it and says, very finely made. I sell these in my shop all the time for about 50 gold. I could knock off... We'll say I'll knock off 50 gold off of that. 2,200 gold. How does that sound?
Lithana looks at Eli and Ender. Would any of you be willing to help him out for about 400?
I'm broke.
Lithana, I'm sorry, I only have 180 gold.
As the DM, I would like to mention you guys have magical items which are unidentified that you are still carrying.
Ender, why do you only have 180 gold? Oh, you got that other weapon. That's
he
right.
bought that sword, yeah.
Right.
I pull out my sword and I just gaze at it with just like a big grin.
Yeah,
Do you draw the sword from your scabbard, Ender?
Not fully, just enough to look at the purple sheen.
Pavel's eyes just sort of sparkle. He says, "Oh my, that is a wonderful weapon. beautiful craftsmanship, sir, if I do say so myself.
I nodded at him and thanked him.
Well, young lady, if you'd like to purchase this item, but you're not quite ready, I could potentially hold it for you, for at least for the evening.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm looking at my inventory. I don't see it, but I had poison dagger. That special poison dagger.
A poison dagger?
Yeah,
I remember
that magical poison dagger.
Oh.
But it's not. I'm inventory.
That's because you haven't identified it yet, homie.
Oh. I'll pull out this dagger. That's the magical dagger.
And he looks at it and he goes, "Oh my, that's a wonderful, wonderful piece that you have there. Were you wishing to trade?"
I was wondering how much is it worth?
"Oh, that one, my friend, that's worth at least 3,000 gold. I can tell just by looking at it. It is wonderfully, just from the jeweled pommel itself. This is no ordinary item."
How about the trade? The dagger for the bow.
Dagger for the bow. Sold. I can totally do that. And my dear, I can.
No. No. We would like the gold for the dagger, and then we can use some of that gold to pay for the prep. It's 3,000 versus 2,200. Yeah. Hint, hint.
Yes.
So you wish to sell the dagger?
Yes, actually. Good point.
Okay. He will take the dagger off your hands. I will throw 3,000 gold into the party's inventory. And I will
We split the party loot.
I will delete that from your sheet. Do you say that into your ring?
Whoa, that was my loot. It just came up. I'm kidding. I'm a fair player.
Back within the tall grass. You've been all communicating with your friends while they've been at the shop at Pavel's Delights, and you've just been listening to the conversation, and you just hear the very beefy, strong sounding voice of Gunthro cut in and say, "Hey, how about our share?"
How about this? Gunny, what weapon do you have? A magical weapon? I stay in the ring.
You reached the service. Gunny. He doesn't have our mail set up yet right now, so please leave a message later when he sets up his mailbox.
Well, I don't know what weapon Gunny uses that we could buy him one too, but oh well.
Well, if weapons are you're not sure on, I also have a few items that perhaps one of your friends who are not in attendance that you've been speaking to on those lovely magical rings of yours. I do have a few items that perhaps your friends would be interested in.
Oh, all right.
Besides the ones that I have on display, I also have, and he now refers to the 2 strong boxes that he has set up behind him on these podiums. I have 2 particular items that I carried with me from Trolanport. The first of which is an item called a Dimensional Shackle. These are a very powerful item indeed. It allows you to incapacitate a creature, and essentially you can use it. It magically adjusts to fit a creature up to a large size. And it'll prevent a creature bound by them from using any method of extra dimensional movement. They can't use teleportation or travel to a different plane of existence. They do not, however, prevent a creature from passing through or entering an interdimensional portal.
Do they prevent from casting spells?
Let's see. I would say that if it requires a somatic component, then they would have difficulty casting a spell. Yeah, any spell that requires a somatic component, you would not be able to cast if you had these shackles on.
All right. What else do you have?
And he refers to the other box and he says, "Are you sure you want to see this? Many
Yes.
folk have stared upon this particular item and have been struck blind." I'm just kidding, of course. And he opens the box and he reveals a 12-sided metal die that's 12 inches across and bears numbers 1 through 12 engraved in it and its pentagonal sides. This, my friends, is called the dodecahedron of doom.
Ooh, what does it do?
Well, it's an unpredictable item. Essentially, you can throw it up to 60 feet as an action, and when you do, a random magical effect occurs when the die comes to rest, after rolling across the ground for at least 10 feet. And if an effect requires a target and no eligible target is within range, nothing happens. So essentially, you roll a d12 and we consult a table to see what happens. And it can be... this is something that is very similar to dice that are used with games that all of you have seen before. So to see a polyhedral dice like this is not unusual to you. However, you've never seen one 12 inches wide.
Oh, that is cool.
And he says, "Would you like to see a demonstration?"
Well, are you serious?
And he just sort of arches one of his eyebrows and he's sort of smiling at you.
No.
And
I
he
like
says,
my chances.
he goes, "Are you sure?" And he sort of lazily runs his fingers across this 12-sided die.
Yes. I don't believe playing Fate right now.
"Oh, very well. Okay. Well, besides these two items and the weapons that I have here on display, which you can see now, the very, very beautiful great sword and the great axe, this very ornate great axe, is I have a few other items, but to be perfectly honest, I don't think that any of you could afford them. I leave them more for dignitaries and nobles. They're my private stock. I do, however, have some potions if you're interested. And yes, sir.
Do you have just one last question? Do you have a ring of spell store?
A ring of spell storing. Unfortunately, I do not have anything with me here in this little extra-dimensional facade of the actual shop back in Trolanport. But if you come to visit me in Trolanport, I may be able to help you.
Ah, all right.
And as he's been saying that, you watch him, his hand just sort of passes through things. Like, he's not actually there. Like, the facade is, like, solid. You know, things are being moved. But everything he's been touching and manipulating has seemed to have been from him, like, moving his hands and doing a somatic sigil or whispering a vocal component of some sort. And things are moving.
That is very, very cool.
Well, I thank you very much. Was there anything else that I could help you with tonight? We could settle up now for that lovely longbow that your friend there wanted. Or you can purchase some other items, of course. I have more spell scrolls, my friend. I have potions. I have, of course, the items beyond the curtain. You might not be interested in those, but if you are, I can, of course, take you on a tour at the very least.
I think we better get going and pay up for the now.
Very well. You wanted the longbow, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. If you are still trading in your old bow, I'll take that off your hands, and the price will be 2,200 gold.
Sure, and she gives that up, and
You have 2,200 gold?
What are you going to trade in the dagger?
Well, I can go ahead and divide up the gold that's in the inventory right now if you want.
That hurts me.
I mean,
All
yes,
right, fine,
technically,
fine.
technically, the 3,000 gold is yours, Eli.
That's fine. No, we're a team. So
All right.
I'll take
I
it.
will.
Let's go.
Do you want that drawing of yourself as a compensation?
Nope.
Are you sure? Because I'm gonna put it in
Yeah.
your inventory.
I'll consider this. I'm hiring everyone to protect me.
All right. So you each received 600 gold. So that gives you more than enough, and you're left with 242 gold left, Lithana.
Cool.
And I will put that lovely item into your inventory. And I'll delete your old longbow. That's funny. It comes up in your inventory before I identify it as the majestic longbow.
Ooh.
There you go. It's in your inventory. And I even equipped it for you.
Lithana looks at Eli, and then she gives a little peck on his. She holds up his hand and gives him a little kiss on the hand,
Oh,
and then puts it down and pretends like nothing.
Oh my. Ah,
Eli's
young
face is bright red.
Pavel exclaims, "Young love, it's so wonderful to see."
Hey, you saw nothing. Nothing.
Well, my friends, if that is all that you required of me this evening, I do have other, customers to attend to you.
Ah, yes. We'll head back. As Eli a giant smile, red face. Bye.
Goodbye. And he waves goodbye to all of you. As you exit out of the shop, Ender, do you also follow, or did you want to stay behind and try to buy something?
No. I'm ready to go.
Okay. You follow your friends out. Lithana is inspecting the bow very carefully. You can see Eli, just a bit of red in the face, big old smile, and he's carrying his scrolls, fidgeting with him, getting them put away. And you head out into the market square. And back in the clearing, within the tall grass, now Lorane and Kasha have finished up their meal. They look to both you, Auri, and Gunthro, and Kasha says, "Well, if there's nothing else, why don't you show us to those winds that you were talking about, my friend?" And as this entire time, she eventually started to fetch equipment that she had carefully stowed away in the tall grass, and she's been putting her armor and items back on. And Laurent has been doing the same thing. And they are now festooned with all of their belongings and are ready to go.
I'll shift back into tiger form and go back towards the vehicle.
Okay. They follow after you in their hybrid forms. And eventually you all make it to the horseless carriage, to the Tutorum. And Kasha exclaims, "Oh my! You weren't kidding about those winds. You have a mighty item there. That is a lovely, lovely vehicle." And she sort of stretches her clawed hand out and just sort of gingerly runs it across the sleek surface of the outer facade of the vehicle. "Where did you acquire such a thing? I hope you didn't steal it."
We know the other group picked us up in it.
Well, where are your friends?
Probably in town buying stuff. They like to go
Oh,
shopping.
the carnival. Well, that sounds lovely. Why don't we go? And she You were saying this in your tiger hybrid form?
Yes.
She walks up beside you and hooks an arm in your elbow, and she begins leading you towards the carnival row away from the vehicle. Come on, sweetie, let's go see if we can find something nice.
I'm gonna go up and grab onto his pants and try and pull him back towards the car.
I might need clothes.
You're still nude, that's right.
Oh, okay, just the slack of his elbow where it's not gonna hurt too much.
Ari reaches out and grabs just a mouthful of haunch.
Oh, yeah. I think I need it first.
Gunther, you feel a little bit of a nip on the back of your leg.
I think we should stay here and wait.
And
We can always
Lorana
entertain
says,
ourselves.
"Oh well, if your druid friend is shy about going into the market, I can stay here with her."
I'm gonna transform out of my form finally.
Okay.
No, we're staying here. We were supposed to stay here. Our friends will be here soon. Here, I'll call them. Guys.
And Kasha looks back at you and says, "That is such a lovely trick, love. Very lovely indeed.
Oh,
Can you
thank
turn?
you guys?
Can you turn into other things too? I believe you were once a bear, weren't you not?
I was. I could turn into all sorts of things.
That is a very useful skill indeed."
Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna talk into my ring. You guys, are you almost finished?
You hear the lilting voice of your friend, your companion, Auri, come emitting from your rings, the trio that are back within the carnival row. The sound of the music is gentle on the breeze. The night air, time has passed now and the sun has gone down, and you can see just beyond the carnival, you can see spotlights and searchlights that move around at different intervals along the outer facade of Argonth. And I will share an image of you once again of what that looks like.
I will also in the ring. We are headed back now. Are you guys at the car?
We are. We're waiting for you. We ran into the sisters again. We'll talk about it when you get here.
I'm imagining Ari like that little bratty sister. Yeah, Mom. They played in the room.
Marsha. Damn, I'm old. Anyway. So
I got it. That was a Brady Bunch reference for all of our listeners.
Eli, Luthana, and Goender, you are wishing to make it back to the Totorum, to the horseless carriage?
Yes.
Okay. As you pass through the tents, beyond the tents, you see like the sights of different individuals who are peddling their wares. You smell exotic foods and spices, and you can see a little bit of a tavern which is sort of popped up, just a 6 foot long floating bit of wood. It seems to be floating in midair. You can see individuals that are standing next to it, no seating, and they're downing flagons of some sort of alcoholic drink, presumably. And as you walk by, you now hear that familiar voice, that sort of a raspy, "Hello again, dearies. It's lovely to see you. I hope you got everything you needed. Madame Vostra wishes you all well, especially you, Ender." And she points a gnarled, crooked finger in your direction, Ender. "I'm still available if you all wish to have your fortunes told, please." And she sort of looks at the three of you expectantly for a moment.
Yeah.
Her eyes sort of shifting from you and her back to the two that she hasn't had a chance to read yet.
Do you remember how much I paid her for the last fortune reading?
I believe she took 2 gold and you gave her 3.
Right. So I tipped her.
You tipped her
an extra
3.
gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna toss 3 gold to each one of them and say it's on me. I just want to hear. I like that scene from last. I almost said last week, but I mean to say from 2.
Well, that's up to your companions if whether or not they accept the 3 gold into their pockets and just keep on walking, or if they decide that they want to hear what she has to say.
It might prove useful to hear what she has to tell them. Go ahead. It's on me. I know you guys are spent. Will you guys accept the 3 gold apiece?
We're on a time restraint.
Ender, it's fine, but I am curious. But maybe
I
the
do
rest of the
offer
group
group rates. I can read the 2 of you together if you wish.
Oh, we're not a couple or anything.
Oh, I'm down.
Are you sure, dearie?
Ender's gonna shrug and be like, "It didn't look like that a moment ago."
Well, maybe we better let the rest of the group, be part of it. They've been out in the. I feel bad for waiting for so.
Do you guys want to do it, or should we keep moving on? You do have a point.
But I actually think that it might be useful. Maybe Ari and Gunny, it'd be helpful to them too, and then we can make our way out quick.
And the old woman, the crone, she expectantly now gestures back towards her immaculate and elaborate shaped tent. Please, this way.
Lethana talks into her ring. Hey, Ari, Gunny, would you like to join us for a group fortune telling?
Fortune telling?
Ender tried it, and it proved pretty useful. Maybe it would help us in our journeys going forward.
Well, Gunny, what do you think?
If you'd like to, I could wait here with the 2 ladies.
Kasha and
Sure,
Lorana are overhearing this conversation, and Lorana pipes up, we can watch over this strange vehicle for you if you wish to go with your friend.
No.
Oh, okay. And she sort of meekly backs away a step.
I was told to stay with you. I think I'm gonna stay. Sorry, Lethana. Gunny doesn't really want to, and I'd feel better not leaving him alone with these 2. You know what happened last time?
That's what I was thinking.
You could always bring those 2 with you and just leave the vehicle alone. What could possibly go wrong?
No.
Well,
If you want your fortune read, go ahead and I'll be here.
I mean, I don't even know my past. What good is it gonna do me to know my future? Go ahead, Lethana. You guys have fun. Just, be careful.
Okay.
And the old crone now continues to gesture with her gnarled hand, and she gestures back, this way, dearies. Ender, do you stay behind, or did you want to go with?
I'm not going to go in with them, but I'll stand outside and guard the tent.
Okay. Well, there
Stay
is a foyer, if you remember, and there were floating trays of that lovely mulled wine that you had before.
That's where I'll head into.
And pastries.
That's what I'll do.
Very delicious pastries. Various differing types of fruits, jams, and jellies.
I will try a modest amount of each, but not too much.
Okay.
Just
Again,
enough to get a fun sugar high.
You have some sort of blackberry jam pastry. You have some sort of a strawberry pastry with some sort of a white icing that's on it. And, of course, the mulled wine, which, of course, is that spicy, sort of a citrusy spiced wine. And the crone once again disappears through the beaded curtain and is gone. Her form evaporates. As Eli and Lithana begin to head gingerly towards the beaded curtain, do you go in?
Yeah, Eli will walk in as he still thinks it's a big joke.
Okay. As you do, Lithana, do you follow?
Yes.
Okay. As the duo of Eli and Lithana pass through the beaded curtain, you feel a rush of cool air that blows over the two of you. And you see the familiar sight of the table, which is set in the middle of this illumination that comes from above. And looking up, you can now see a night sky above you. Stars, and you can see comets streaking across the sky at different intervals, different planetary objects in the distance, all maneuvering and moving, similar to what you saw in the foyer before, but much grander in scale. Glancing back now, the beaded curtain with which you pass through is now many, many yards away from you. And even though you only traveled a short bit of distance, you feel as though you've gone at least 50 yards away from it. The crone now sits at the table, and as she does so, her form begins to shimmer and melt away, and the elderly woman evaporates and transforms into that of a beautiful raven-haired woman. And she gestures and says, "Please, have a seat." And she gestures to two stools that just sort of pop into existence next to the table.
Eli sits down,
Still
still skeptical.
Lithana does as well.
And she's already pulled out the deck, and she explains to you what she explains to Ender, that it is the Toroka. It is a deck which is used to tell the fortunes and reveal past, present, and future events for individuals. And she explains to you that the cards are tricky, and within group readings, even more tricky. Sometimes the cards reveal things that you want to hear, and sometimes they reveal things you don't want to hear. And as she says this, she begins to lay them out in a pattern. A card in the center, and on each edge of that card she lays 4 more cards. And she looks to the two of you and she says, "Are you ready to begin?"
Yes.
Yes.
She pulls a card out and flips it over on one of the sides of the card in the center, and she says, "Ah, the warrior." This particular card I see often in my readings with those who ply their trade of helping those in need. You will find a very useful ally very soon, one who is formidable, and they will help you in your hour of need. She then flips over the next coin, and it is that of an individual who is dressed in an opulent robe with a very tall hat that almost is shaped like a vase, and is holding 2 coins, one in each hand. The philanthropist. It seems that you've recently taken upon yourself to work for an individual who is quite some standing and backing behind them. This will be very fortunate for you and will be very lucrative. This person is of good fortune to both of you. And she then pulls one out and flips it over. And it's that of a gnarly-looking old man with a long beard, white beard. His clothes are ratty, and one of his hands looks like it's been wrapped with linen and is bleeding. And it's soaked with blood in places and bleeding profusely. The beggar. Oh my. Apparently one of you has been leaning on another in your group for some possible items or coin. It is nothing to be ashamed of course. We all at some point in time in our lives must rely on others. This is not an evil task. And then she pulls out the second to last card. And it is that of a sword floating in the midst of a black field with a ruby on the pommel. The artifact. You and your companions will obtain an item of great power, and it may lead you to fortune or misfortune, depending on how you handle it. She then looks to the two of you, and she says, "Are you ready for your final reading?"
Yes.
And she holds out her hands, one to each of you, to take each of you take a hand.
I'll grab her hand.
She gestures to you, Lithana.
I do as well.
And as soon as you do, your hands lay into her fingers, soft, warm hands. She suddenly cinches her hands closed, gripping yours, and her eyes roll into the back of her head. And the card in the center of the table begins to glow a rough, amberish red, angry color, and begins to float in the center of the table. And the card begins to rise up. And in the center of the card, you see a ghastly, animalistic person wearing a strange horned crown, sitting on a throne with animalistic skulls on either side of the armrests. And he's gesturing with his hand out towards you both. And you just hear the strained voice saying... And she pulls you, Eli, towards her just slightly. "I see a great flying vessel ferrying you across the skies. Another meets it, and... oh my... fire and destruction raining from above. I see a great conflict between elemental beings, with you and your companions at the center of that great storm." And she sort of, at the utterance of that last final word, she sort of lets your hand go. She then, with her other hand that she was holding Lithana's hand, she suddenly clasps the free hand onto you, Lithana, and her eyes are no longer rolled in the back of her head, and she just stares at you with this look on her face of dread. And she's now speaking to you in her regular voice, and she says, I see children. I see two of them. A very young boy and girl playing in a courtyard with small toys resembling horseless carriages and strange war machines. A man and a woman dressed as nobility look upon the children from nearby. And I see a man who resembles your features, possibly a relative of yours, seated near the man.
a pained look in his eyes. His eyes are a bit hollow and he reeks of guilt. And I sense a presence, a malevolent, hungering force.
And she lets go of your hand violently and rocks back in her chair and falls unconscious. And the card, which was there in the middle of the table, is continuing to float, glowing this angry red color. And the individual, this painted card, suddenly begins to move and shift. And the image begins to animate. And the individual rests both hands in the chair and begins to stand up and move closer, as if moving towards you. And you suddenly see a gnarled hand begin to emerge from the surface of the card, reaching towards your throat, Lithana. And the card
immediately cast a spell magic.
Suddenly, as you emit the vocal and somatic components, the card suddenly bursts into a shower of sparks and flame, and the sparks light the tablecloth on this oval table light for a moment. And the other cards are suddenly burnt in places. And the woman is still slumped in her chair. It's strange. Half of her features of that of the young woman with the black curled hair. And the other half is that of the crone now. And you can see that her eyes are moving under the closed eyelids back and forth as if she's dreaming.
And Lithana is white as a ghost.
See, it's just a trick. They just try to scare us. That's pretty cool, though, for a haunted place.
Yeah, haunted house, kind of cool.
Lithana reaches over to the fortune teller. Wake up, wake up.
And as you rouse her, her eyes flutter a bit a few times. She blinks and she goes, "Oh, my." And she reaches up with a hand and brushes it across the side of the face, which was that of the crone, and her features now meld and shift back into that of her younger self. And she says, "I have not felt something that evil since I was back home." And she looks at you, Lithana, and she says, with tears streaming down her face now, "You will find what you look for, but you may not. You may not like what you find." And she gestures. "I will not charge you for this reading." She gestures away. "Please, I need to collect myself." She now gestures with her hand emphatically towards the exit, several yards behind the two of you. And you, as you look up, the sky, which was this brilliant, clear night sky, is suddenly gone cloudy. And you can see thunderheads building, thunderous clouds, and you could now hear the sounds of thunder and thunderclaps. This room is suddenly filled with a chill, and a gentle rain begins to fall, wetting both of you, wetting the table, wetting the woman, and she just sits there, her arms splayed out, with this look of concern on her face, staring at you, Lithana.
Thank you. And she puts the 3 gold on the table. No, take it, please. I guess I will do it what I must.
And as you say that now, the table and the woman are getting further away, as the two of you are almost being sucked towards the exit. And your ears kind of pop as you suddenly find yourselves emerge from the beaded curtain. And now the opening, which was behind the beaded curtain, is gone. It's just a solid tent, tarpaulin. And the beaded curtain seems to be hanging from almost hanging from nothing. And slowly the beads start to crack and disintegrate and fall onto the carpet. And Ender, as you're sitting there enjoying your pastries and your wine, the goblets are now disintegrating. The pastries are now evaporating. And the floating trays are starting to shimmer and also evaporate. Until the three of you are no longer standing within a tent, this entire tent just sort of unravels around you and is gone. And you can see a couple of shocked individuals who are mulling about the place, looking at you and just sort of giving you sort of a side eye. But beyond that, the frivolity continues.
Well, back to the carriage.
After collecting yourselves, Eli, Luthana, and Ender, do you make your way back towards the Tortorum, the horseless carriage?
Yes.
Okay. Upon arriving, you come across a scene of Auri just sort of braiding an elaborate crown made of flowers, and you see two individuals that you remember seeing a few days ago. Kasha and Lurana, the Yervain sisters. And as you begin walking up, Kasha was just sort of leaning against the side of the vehicle, and she stands up now and sort of holds her hand out in a salute. And she says, "Well, good to see you all back. Sorry your friend is off somewhere in the tall grass. Hasn't come back yet. Maybe he had to relieve himself."
So how'd the fortune telly thingy go?
That's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of tricks, all illusions. Don't believe a word. It was pretty cool, though. It was a good show.
So some neat magic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was a
You okay, Lathana?
I think there's a little more truth to it than you might want to admit.
It wasn't. I mean, the main of the show, that his hand like reached out and like almost to grab Lathana. It was like almost felt real. So like I cast a spell magic and it all just went away. So just an
That sounds
illusion.
really cool.
But then she said something about
Eli, for someone who deals in magic, you sure don't believe any of it.
Well, that's why. I mean, I deal in magic. I can tell you. I can make up many things about you just by casting spells about reading your mind. But I don't have the spell for that. Or if I did, I would read your mind.
But fortune telling is a real art.
But how did they know? How did they know about the children?
Children? I'm lost.
How would she have known?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe I can explain, but I think we better get back on the road.
And Kasha just sort of lets out a big, "Well, yeah, we should probably hit the road. Which one of you is bunking with me? This thing seems a little bit tight for all of us to fit in."
Oh, right. We forgot to mention, we meant to talk to you guys. Gunny should be around here somewhere, and then maybe we can have a moment to speak.
No, absolutely not. Hell no.
You don't even know what I was gonna ask yet.
I already have a feeling. No.
Kasha is running her hands along the sleek surface of the outer shell of this vehicle. Nice.
Eli,
Don't touch
let's
that.
not be rude.
No, absolutely
then-
not. We know what happened last time. It's
Eli-
not happening again.
Eli, you hear a soft sound of feet on grass, and you feel warmth behind you. As if something is close to you. And as you turn around, you now see in his hybrid tiger, were-tiger form, Gunthral. And he's just sort of rumbling, purring noise, throaty coming from his mouth and from his chest.
I think we all need to get aboard.
No, Gunny, we gotta talk about this.
Okay,
Taking strangers.
Let's all walk over to the side. Ladies, if you don't mind, we're gonna have a little conversation. We'll be right back. Don't be rude.
Lorana is already sitting inside of the vehicle, and she's just been sort of caressing the soft, supple leather. Oh, it's so lovely. And she's now gesturing towards the center console where the Atlas slate is, and just sort of runs her finger along the edge of the slate. I've seen these before, these Atlas slates. They are so pretty.
What seat does Eli normally sit in?
That's up to Eli.
Away from you.
The last seat that he was sitting in, I go sit there. In my
Okay.
Total butt naked form.
Furry butt naked.
Looks like we're not going anywhere. I'm the one that knows how to operate this vehicle.
Okay, but we should probably...
As you say that, Lorana touches something on the Atlas slate, and the vehicle's engine, its elemental engine, purrs and roars to life.
Yeah? Are you sure about that?
And Lorana just goes,
Is there a key?
ah! It actually works in close as long as you're within 30 feet of the vehicle, the Atlas slate can be activated.
So I just walk away 30 feet.
Okay, when you do, the elemental engine cuts out. And Lorana is like, what happened? What did I touch?
Now let's talk. Our group.
I'm gonna walk over to Eli. Actually, I kind of chase after him as he's running away to stop the engine.
Yes, he knows.
Whose idea was this?
There's kind of, so we may have let them know when we ran into them into the field. We were kind of just like hanging out. I was in my wolf form, he was in my tiger form, which is like really, really fun. But anyway, they need passage. And they asked us if we could help.
They can run. They're tigers too.
Do you know how tired your feet get after a little while? I mean, yeah, it's longer than human form, that's for sure, but it's not super long, and you still gotta rest. It's not like having an engine like that.
Do you know what happened last time? They threw me out of my tent. My tent. I was trying to sleep.
I can hear you still.
Gonna get over here. You know more than I do, come on.
Oh, I'll get out. I'll walk over there. Butt ass naked still.
Tiger dong and all.
He really likes being naked these days.
I mean, if you had a soft layer of fur covering every inch of your body, wouldn't you want to take off all your clothes?
I do sometimes, and I still like wearing clothes.
And I'd like to rub my new soft fur.
They're the reason why Gunny's like this. He's even weirder than before.
I mean, he does kind of have a point. You know, Gunny, you did kind of kill a lot of people, or one person. So, I mean, I'm not one to trust. If you trust them, maybe, but we have to have some kind of assurance that they're not going to go around killing lots of people, unless it, of course, brought us some more gold. But you know,
there's a bit of a excuse me. And as you turn around a few feet away from you, Lorana is sort of standing there, and she's holding out a sack of some sort. We'll pay you
I'm in. They're coming.
How much?
Well, let's see. We still have quite a trip. About how long do you think it'll take us to get to Trolanport?
Isn't it 4 days, Jeremy?
Right now, it'll take you guys about 4 days, yes.
4 days.
Oh, my. That's very fast. Half of the time that we normally... I tell you what. Why didn't we offer you what we were going to offer you, when we ran into you before? For the work that we offered.
Oh no, that's fine. We don't need your money.
Yes. Welcome
if
aboard. We'll take it.
If you remember, she's referring to the 2,000 gold that she was going to give you all for clearing out that Enkeg hive.
2,000 per person, or 2,000 altogether.
2,000 altogether.
Fine. Welcome aboard.
And she's just sort of holding the pouch up to whoever will take it.
Gunny grabs it.
Okay. Go ahead and put 2,000 gold in your inventory, sir.
I'm gonna have to go down into a smaller form if someone doesn't mind me sitting in their lap. I'll be really light, like 2 pounds.
How long can you hold that form there, Auri?
That's what I'm saying.
1 hour.
Wait, so 2 hours, yeah.
Okay. And how long do you need to rest before you can do it again?
Well, as a half elf, if I do a short rest, I can do it again. But I can do it once more because I turned into a wolf earlier, though.
Okay. So I will say, for all intents and purposes, that would essentially mean that you guys would have to rest. You'd have to stop the vehicle after several hours just to give her time to rest and give that up. It will add some time to your travel.
Couldn't she rest in the vehicle itself?
There is another solution. She could always ride on Eli's. One of you could ride on Eli's little crystal thing. Doesn't travel nearly as fast, but, and this is just a thought, you guys could try to attach it to it like a sidecar.
Yes.
Or maybe throw a rope out to the person on the sled and they can just, ride behind you going, woohoo!
Oh, Eli could, sit in my lap on the ride.
No. Can we all squeeze in? Is there any way we can all just squeeze?
Come here, give me a hug.
I would say that it would be very uncomfortable. But you could get all 7 of you to fit. It wouldn't impede the vehicle. It would just mean that you would have to leave behind some cargo.
Gunny. Always making us in
Wait.
possible situation.
When you heard
essentially,
gold,
it would add another day of travel on. Essentially, it would slow the vehicle down a bit, and it would add a day's travel on.
when she mentioned gold, your eyes lit up like giant saucer.
Yeah, you're right. It's worth the terrible ride for gold.
Good.
Hey, and it's passive income. We don't have to do anything.
And Gunther got 2,000 gold out of it, guys.
And if they get funny business, we can just kill them. No offense. Nothing personal.
None taken, fuckface, Kasha says.
and he gets her, get right on my lap for a while.
What can the small one sit on your lap? The sister, and he points to the small.
And when you say that, Lorana's face just sort of, she blushes and goes bright red, and she's just sort of like, No, that's okay, no.
Alright, who wants to sit on my lap? I promise I won't bite. I might kill you if you get too fussy, but...
Lorana very enthusiastically says, I will, but if that's okay.
That's fine.
So are you all loading up into the vehicle now? The terms have been set and met and agreed upon?
Hey, Gunny, out my share. Now.
What was that?
Before I get in this and have a terrible road trip, I want my share.
I mean, to be fair, he was very kind in that we used some of the gold to buy my new weapon, so... And he needs it more than any of us for buying scrolls and magic items for his wizarddom or whatever.
So when you're all there, did you get me any food?
Oh, we did get food, yes.
Yeah.
Ender's got a whole bunch of pastries shoved in his pants, doesn't he?
No, but they all evaporated, remember?
He still has crumbs in his beard.
They're all gone because of some jerk who dispelled.
Wait, didn't we get supplies when we were there?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you guys got all of your normal supplies have been refilled, all your rations, water, arrows, any sort of components that you needed.
It's after we picked up all that stuff is when I managed to talk you guys into going into that fortune teller room.
Yeah. Alright, let's go. I still want my share, Gunny.
When we get to the Trolanport.
Now. Oh, I wait. And he kind of puts his shoulders together and stands 30 feet away.
I can always take you there.
Come on, boys.
What? She threw me out of the tent.
Listen, small fry, we are wasting breath and time. We need to get to Trolanport. You obviously need to get to Trolanport. Can't we just get on the road and be done with it?
Exactly.
Fine. Put the shoulders together and sits in the seat.
You sit in the seat. The seat is a little warm, and you realize that there's a stain on the surface of the the seat. It smells a little funny.
Prestidigitation? Gunny! Do we need to house train you?
All right. So the five of you all gather onto the vehicle and squeeze in as Kasha and Lorana get into the vehicle with you all. Auri, are you going to be in your smaller form, or did you want to just go ahead and stay in your normal form?
I'll be in the cat form in the beginning, just so we can have some
Sure.
comfort until I pop out of it.
Lorana is still sitting in Lothana's lap, blushing.
I'll activate it.
And
Trolanport.
away we go.
Lithana looks at Lorana and says, "Now, you're probably safest sitting on my lap. I'm not going to try any, pervy business or anything like that. But you try anything funny or try to bite me or anything, I will kill you. Just so you know. You're safe with me, but I will kill you."
Would you like some jerky?
No.
And she pulls out a little pouch and she unfolds it, and this spicy smell of the dried salted meat now just assaults your senses, and you're realizing it's been a while since you've eaten anything, and your stomach starts to growl. In answer to your question, Auri, Lorana is about your height. She's a very lithe woman.
Eli looks over at Gunny. Hey, Gunny, You said you still have the items you wanted me to help you with.
Yes.
Pull them out. I will help you for my share.
So you can drive and do that.
Yes. It drives itself, actually.
And as you're speaking, the vehicle is just rocketing away from Argonth and away from the market carnival. And you just see folks are just sort of, as the vehicle whizzes past out onto the road and beyond towards the east into Zalarga, the nation of Zalarga proper, you can see now that people are waving. Some kids were running down the street laughing and waving their hands at you all as you run off. And as the vehicle rockets down the road, the two Everbright lamps emit from the front and illuminate the path in front of you. And Eli, you said you wish to identify those items now?
Yes.
Okay. How long does it take to identify those items?
Real quick. 1 minute.
About 1 minute. Okay. Now, are you running it as a? How does that work? You have to do it once per item, or you can run it as a ritual and identify a bunch of items.
Once per item, you choose one object, so I have to touch it. So.
Okay, so it's going to cost you. You could do it 4 times, correct?
Yep, that's why. Yeah, I guess.
Okay. All right. Which item would you like to identify first?
Gunny, which item would you like identified?
And you get the ornate short sword.
I grab it.
You throw that in the group's inventory, and I will identify it.
Actually, yeah, throw them all in there.
Do you want me to throw that scroll that you pilfered, sir?
Yeah.
All right, I'll throw that in there. Yeah, everything you have that you want identified, throw in the party sheet, and I will.
Up to four things. So just make sure.
Sure.
That. As everyone stares at Eli as he's all alone, waving his hands around.
You might want to cast Detect Magic first to verify what is what.
That is true. I'll detect magic.
Okay. Well, the weapon, the bag, that Gunthrel's sack, if you will, and all of them appear to be emitting some sort of enchantment magic. The sword, especially the bag, and the stone all appear to be enchanted items. The scroll appears to be some sort of a spell. Which one did you want to identify first?
I'll grab the sword.
Okay.
Yes, identify.
All right. The short sword is a +2 short sword, which does magical damage. The +2 bonus to attack rolls and damage rolls when you use this weapon.
All right. He'll touch the leather sack.
Okay.
Yes, identify.
Softly.
Soft. They should you caress it. Caress Gunthrel's sack, Eli.
Make sure your hands aren't too cold.
It might shrink a little bit.
Wow.
The leather sack is called the Bag of Bounty. It is a sturdy leather sack with tiny silver shards embedded into the lining. And if you have the Mark of Hospitality, you can use an action to create food and water, drawing a feast from within the bag.
Does anyone have the Mark of Hospitality? Anyone? Looks around.
Mark of Hospitality?
Yes. What about you, Gunny? Probably not. You're not really hostile. Well, The bag is useless to us. You can sell it for a good coin. I'll do the stone next.
Okay. The stone appears to be some sort of sending stone. Very similar to ones that you've seen before. Typically, a sending stone of this nature, this particular one, has a brother or a sister stone that's connected to it. So someone on the other end of it.
Where do we get the stone? And he pulls it up. Where do we find the stone?
And as you hold it up, you hear a nasally voice say, "Who's calling me at this hour? Who is that?" And it sounds like the nasally voice that emitted from the stone after you were attacked by the changeling in the shop when you're riding on the road out of Sharn. "Speak! Whoever you are!"
Who is this?
"Oh, Mr. Stormbringer. So good to hear you. I can see your position now somewhere in Zilago, I see. Lovely, lovely. I'll have to make a note of that. How are you faring, sir?"
Oh, very well. Know
Hopefully,
that I will always, always, always win. And he chucks out the window.
okay. The sending stone flies out the window. You just hear the nasally voice say, "I had something important to say." And it's gone. And I'll delete it. And finally, you wanted to identify the scroll?
Yes.
Okay. The scroll is a scroll of protection from fiends. When you use it, read the scroll, use an action, it encloses you in an invisible barrier that extends from you to form a 5-foot radius, 10-foot high cylinder. And for 5 minutes, the barrier prevents fiends from entering or affecting anything within the cylinder. The cylinder will move with you and remain centered on you. However, if you move in such a way that a creature of a specified type would be inside the cylinder, the effect will end. And a creature can attempt to overcome the barrier by succeeding using an action to make a DC 15 charisma check. And if they succeed, the creature will not be affected by the barrier.
Wow. Not bad.
And you get a sense as you've identified it that this appears to be some sort of an abjuration magic.
Well, who uses a short sword?
Crickets.
Crickets.
I could use it.
Technically, Lithana is proficient.
Hey, he looks at Lithana. Weirdly, as the other lady sitting on her. And he hands out, he reaches with the sword out. You should probably take this.
Okay, thank you.
What about this scroll of protection from fiends?
Gunny, you'd probably be best to use this. Probably use it on her. And he hands it to Gunny.
And Kasha looks at you and says, "Oh, you're fucking dead. As soon as I get you away from the rest of these folk." "I'm just kidding, of course." And she stops laughing and just looks at you.
He looks at the bag of bounty. We can just keep this to sell, and yeah, none of us can use this.
Okay, did you want to hold on to that, Eli? Or give that to one of your friends?
I might as well hold on to it. I give the dagger, so I'll probably just sell this one too.
Okay.
If I go to a magical shop.
And I believe, Lithana, you had, like, that glamour weave, didn't you? Or is somebody else holding on to that?
That's what I was looking for.
Somebody's got it.
I do not.
Yeah, I was looking for that too. I was surprised it wasn't in there.
Yeah, I don't have it in my inventory.
Hold on, I think I might have.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Unfortunately, you don't have a way to identify that, Eli. Would you like to retcon?
Yeah, I would.
Would you like to retcon the sending stone? No, I'm afraid that you
Yeah.
can't. I'm so sorry, you can't do that. I mean, it's pretty blatantly obvious that that's what it is. So I will go ahead and I'll give you that. If you put it in there, I'll identify it. Because I'm a nice guy.
Eli's seen it before.
Smiles upon us.
Glamourweave clothing is imbued with cosmetic illusions. Traditionally, the patterns are contained within the cloth, but higher-end Glamourweave, which this one in particular is, can have more dramatic effects. It could have a gown that appears to be wreathed in flames, or a hat that is orbited by illusory butterflies. Regardless of the design, these are cosmetic effects and have no impact on combat. And this particular Glamourweave has been designed to resemble either a set of fine robes, or they can resemble a set of whatever armor you're currently wearing. They will match it.
That's quite an item.
I assume you would like that, Latana? Unless somebody else wants it.
Of course, I would like to take it, but she's looking at everyone in the room. I feel like I'm hogging all the good stuff today.
Could always give that short sword to somebody.
Yeah, short sword, anyone, you can take it.
Eli will reach back and grab the short sword. Anybody want this?
Kasho starts to reach for it. I'll take it.
No.
What, fucker? You said anyone.
I mean, in my party.
I'm in your party. We're paying you, aren't we? Temporarily, of course. I'll hold on to it. And she starts to reach for it and grab it out of your hand.
He holds on to it and I'll use it. I need it. I use swords.
Then he puts it in his sack.
Okay. Alright, I will distribute the items to you guys. There you go.
Eli looks over at Gunny. What weapon do you use anyway?
I'll shift into a hybrid form and show him claws. Alright.
For real though, next time I could actually help you out and get you something good if I knew. But last time I called you on the ring and you have no answer machine set up. I mean, who does that?
So...
Oh, you're talking to me. Wasn't paying attention.
So after identifying all the items, did you all wish to take your long rest for the evening until the next day, or what did you want to do? Take this time to get to know your two traveling companions? I like your picture, Auri. That's adorable.
Thank you.
I just imagine Auri just walking in a circle and just like settling on someone's lap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna copy one of the scrolls into my spellbook.
Okay, you can go right ahead. That will destroy the spell. That will destroy the spell scroll. Go ahead
Yes,
and
it will. It's the enlarge and reduce one.
Sure thing. And I will mark you all as taking a long rest. The next morning, you all awake refreshed. Have a little bit of a meal from your traveling rations and food and drink, and continue on throughout the day. The night was very peaceful. The rocking motion of the elemental carriage just sort of keeping you all nice and safe within it. And you manage to travel along the road with very little resistance. Kasha and Lorana, you get to learn them. Kasha's a bit of a curmudgeon, and she doesn't really talk a whole lot about herself, but Lorana won't shut the fuck up. She has taken a liking to Lithana, and she tells Lithana her entire life story, practically. Tells you about how she grew up in Argonth, which is a nation to the northeast, and that she and her family have lived within Argonth since the days before the last war. And she also tells you that she and her sister are meeting a very important diplomat in Trolanport, and that they are going somewhere very fancy, and that she and her sister will have to go somewhere to find something to wear.
Who is this diplomat?
Lorana looks to you and she says, well, I don't quite know. We were given instructions from our patron to meet with this diplomat within the Ondarian embassy there within Trolanport, and we were essentially gathering information from this person in person. It has something to do with movements within Argonth, individuals within Argonth moving through the territories. I'm sure it's nothing of importance to you or to your friends, but my patron was most insistent that we find out this information.
I see. Well, best of luck in your travels.
Thank you. If you wanted to be my +1 to the party, and she just sort of trails off.
I appreciate the invitation, but we have our own urgent business to attend.
I understand. I'm so sorry for imposing. I'm so sorry.
Unless anyone thinks we need to go to this event, and she looks around.
And hold our options open.
Let's not forget our assignment.
Yes, maybe not this time.
I understand, Lithana. And she seems a little downcast but she's a little hurt, but she doesn't ruminate on it. If there's nothing else that you wish to do on your throughout the day, we will continue on. I'll say that you take another rest after traveling on the road. You just see the beautiful rolling hills of Zalargo. You see folk on the road, and they try to hail you as you're passing by, but the vehicle is so fast that you just hear the sound of their voice trailing off. It's just sort of like a hey. And on the third day of travel, who is paying attention to the road in front of you all? I assume that the vehicle drives itself, but I assume that you all at some point or at one point or another are all paying attention to the road.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Eli's looking out.
Eli's looking out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, are we sitting up front?
Well, both seats face the same way. There's windows.
There's windows on the front and the back. The sides are open, and there's a row of seats all around the podium. So, a few individuals can sit in the back, a few can sit in the front. So it's basically
Okay.
like you're facing each other.
Can I stick my face out the window?
Sure. You totally can. It's like a pup. Tongue lolling out of the side of your head. Well, in that case, why don't you go ahead and make a perception check for me there, Guthrie.
Perception. Okay.
Okay. So, on the road, down the road a piece, you see a very short bridge over what appears to be a stream. And there appears to be a cart overturned in the middle of the bridge. And you feel like you're going to get closer. You're going to come upon this bridge fairly soon. Like within like about 2 minutes, you're going to be there. The cart appears to be blocking your egress.
There's a roadblock ahead. Possible trouble. Eli. Hello, Eli, wake up.
Yeah. Oh, must not enough.
Roadblock ahead. Possible trouble. Wait,
What? What do you mean?
I jumped out the window.
You jump out the window? Make an athletics check. Or no, I'm sorry. Make an acrobatics check. Okay, Guthrie goes... He starts to, like, majestically leap out the window, catches his foot on the edge of the vehicle, and you just watch him go... And you take...
I'm in hat calf form. So.
You're in half calf form, yes. You're going to take 8 points of bludgeoning damage, which I will throw onto you there, Guthrie.
Shifting the full...
And the...
form and run.
Okay, the vehicle is zooming past you now, going down the road towards the bridge. What would you all like to do? Who is
Oh my god.
Who is
Stop the
watching?
vehicle!
As you
I'm
look,
watching him go out the window.
who is looking towards the road, towards the bridge?
I'm looking at him try to jump out as I say, "Stop, vehicle, stop!" As he
Yeah.
Okay.
Lithana gets her arrow out and she's looking towards the road.
Okay. From behind the overturned cart, you see a man wearing armor suddenly appear as sprinting towards the vehicle. And from behind, you suddenly see a chain launch out, and there's a bit of a hook on the end, which just skewers him in the back and pounds him into the dirt. And he is flattened by this chain. And then emerging from behind the cart, you see a large ogre wearing armor and carrying chains. And then you see another one that emerges from behind that one. They both appear to be blocking this bridge now. What would you all like to do?
I want to shoot it.
You gonna shoot it?
Yes. Put him out the
Okay.
window if I can.
Okay, it would be... Let's see, what's the range on your bow?
Let's see. It's 150, 600.
Okay, so
So it's
it would be a disadvantage. Because you're not quite there.
Alright, I'll wait until
Okay.
it's done.
Did the vehicle stop, or are you guys continuing forward? Because while you've been trying to figure out what you're going to do next, Guthrie, who tumbled in the dirt, is sitting in the middle of the roads, and he's started to shift into his tiger form and now is running behind the vehicle.
We should stop.
I'll back up the vehicle to the. I want to back up the vehicle to like a safe distance if there's a way, and then.
Well, the vehicle is currently rocketing towards this bridge, and you're going full speed down the road to the east towards this bridge.
Stop! Vehicle, stop!
So you want to seize control of it?
Yes, I want to tell it to stop.
Okay, you can take a hold of the Atlas Slate and control the vehicle if you wish. With your, you can actually use it as a control unit, like a controller. Okay.
I grab it. I want to stop the vehicle and back it up back to where Gunny is.
Okay. All right, the vehicle stops.
Looks like there's trouble. And I hit the reverse.
I run by.
Okay. Gunthrow continues to run past the vehicle as you bring it to a screeching halt.
All right. Oh, this is a safe distance. I think that we should clear the road before we move on. Yep. All right, let's get out.
Ithana jumps out and starts kind of crouching towards, finding a good spot to shoot.
Ladies, if you don't mind, we might need some of your help as well, and then I'll transform into a bear.
Eli takes the controller and puts it in his pocket and steps out.
Okay. In the distance, you see the bridge. You see these very large ogres that are currently standing in the middle of the bridge, and you can hear now the sounds of screams as someone is being brutally attacked in the middle of the bridge, which you can't see from behind the large overturned cart.
I will do my normal and cast mage armor on myself.
Okay. Go ahead and drop that on yourself if you like.
And do I see Gunny running?
You see Gunthroll is running straight towards the bridge unless he stops.
I'm going to test out something new. And I look at him. Is he 30? He's within 30 feet.
He is not.
Oh.
You stopped the vehicle. He kept going.
Gunny, wait up! Gunny, wait up! Slow down! I need to talk to you real quick.
To recap briefly there, unless you already got your recap, Ender, you guys saw an overturned cart in the middle of the road across a short bridge over a stream, and you Gunthrow hilariously fell out of the vehicle trying to land a 3-point stance and took a little bit of damage. And now you guys are in the middle of the road. The vehicle stopped. Gunthrow is continuing to run in his full tiger form now, dropping all of his gear. Actually, no, not dropping all of his gear, because I already had a conversation with you, Mark, that you did not drop your gear.
Yes.
Gunny, wait up.
Gunny.
I need to speak with you. It's important.
Okay, Gunthrow, what do? He's yelling in his ring. You can't hear him because your ring is inside of your extra dimensional pouch.
When to stay on the paw?
Sure. Why not?
How far away from me am I?
I would say at this point you're probably about 10 yards away from him. No, more like 25 yards. Because he would be outside of the range of his 30-foot spell that he was trying to cast.
75 feet away.
How many feet of the cart away?
Right now the cart is about 125 feet away from you. Your best guess. And you can see these very large ogres, one of them wearing armor. and he is holding this enormous chain, and you just watch him bludgeoning the cart, and someone is screaming within the cart.
I keep going.
Okay. You're going to continue on. What's the rest of the group doing? Are you guys letting him go on by himself?
I'm going to try and catch up to him.
Okay.
I'm also going to try to catch up to him. I wish I understood what was going on there.
Okay. So you guys are running behind. Ender's running. Auri's running in her bear form. And what is Lathan and Eli doing? You guys staying back at the cart?
No,
I'm running.
Yes.
You guys are all running?
Wait for me.
Okay.
I have something for you.
All right. Lorana and Kasha are just kind of like they're just like, what are we doing? What's going? Oh, okay. And they are all running behind you.
As tigers or as ladies?
Oh, they are currently in their tiger forms. They're trying to run and catch up to their new tiger family member. And I will throw you guys on a map here in a moment. Let's see, Gunny, since you are said you're a full tiger.
Yes, sir.
All right, in that case, you get a special token. And the ladies will also get their tokens. And let us roll initiative.
Don't use the dice tower.
Don't use the dice
Do
tower?
not. Don't, Ari.
But why not?
Because I want to see what you rolled. What did you roll? Tell us.
I don't even see it.
Oh, I have not. Oh, you don't have it activated, probably.
Yeah, I just see that I rolled. That's all I know.
Alright, let's see.
I see so many teeth. I just see all teeth. I'm scared.
What's the distance of the square?
They're 5-foot squares. And you mentioned something about damage resistance there. Gunny, what were you talking about?
I thought there was damage resistance.
Sorry, you got cut off?
I thought there was damage reduction in cat form.
Damage reduction in cat form.
That's actually a really good point. He did, land on his feet after him. I mean, you can't not land on his feet.
As a cat.
I don't see anything about damage reduction in cat form. Okay, well, while you've worked that out, Lavrana is going to run forth as fast as she can.
He's so many teeth.
Rushes forth towards these enormous ogres, and the enormous ogre from across the way now is going to. You just see that this ogre, which I will share a picture of. I guess I won't. Oh, sorry. He is currently carrying a gigantic crossbow the size of a ballista. And he aims it towards... across the water towards you, Eli. Because why not? Whoops.
I could have called that. Poor Eli always gets attacked first. I mean, look at me. I'm obviously the cutest one of these four over here.
And you just see this, not a bolt, not really so much a bolt, just a giant harpoon come launching across, just across the water towards you, Eli. And it just sails over your head and impacts the ground behind you, creating a crater. And it's your turn, Eli.
I look at Gunthrow. I was trying to help you. And I'm gonna cast Enlarge on him. And I'll move right there, kind of out of the way. And that'll end my turn.
Alrighty.
So now, Gunny weighs. The target size doubles in all dimensions, and it weighs 8 times the amount. It grows to a large creature. So now Gunny's large.
Gunny is large, okay.
And he has advantage on all strength saves, and does an extra d4 damage.
There we go. I believe I just put that on you, Gunny.
Yep.
As only active when you are in were-tiger form, I should mention. It's kind of like a boon. Like when you're in your humanoid form, you won't get this immunity.
Like get it in the hybrid?
You would get it in your yes, you would. However, we will discuss being exhaustion from trying to maintain that form all the time.
Okay.
All right, Eli, that's your end of your turn.
Yeah, Gunny is now a large creature, so he'd take up 4. He's as big as an ogre. They're large.
Ah.
Oops.
Yeah, I dropped the effect on him. Oh, yeah, there we go. This giant
giant cat
running, and he just doubled in size. Boom!
Alright. The blade now moves forward, scrambling out and attempting to slash at the ogre with his blade. And you all watch as he tries to slash it, cuts into the armor of the ogre, but he just sort of gets ready to sort of backhands the guy and bashes him back into the overturned cart. The other ogre now is going to fire his bolt at Lithana. And Lithana, this spear just goes flying across and impacts the ground a few feet away from you, leaving a crater, sticking straight up out of the ground. And is now your turn.
Alright. I'm not gonna look right at the ogre number. Wait, which one?
The one that tried to impale you.
Oh no, you didn't. And I'm going to use my Dread Ambusher and make 3 attacks.
Okay.
With my new bow, yeah.
That is a hit. That is also a hit. In quick succession, you pull out your arrow and the arrows arc out and stick into the slabby, muscular form of the ogre. Your third attack, unfortunately, missed. The arrow goes ping off of its shoulder blade and off of its shoulder and flies off into the distance.
Okay, and with, let's see, my bonus action, I will cast Hunter's Mark, which I should have done at first. Oh.
Okay.
And I'll just put it on that guy, because I really don't like him.
You don't like him? Oh.
No. Which I think I had to put on myself, right? Mark?
Yes.
Okay. Whoops.
Here, I'll take the other one off for you. I think you have it on yourself 3 times. There we go.
And that's the end of my turn.
Okay. Gunthral, on your turn, and your enlarged cat form.
Does that increase movement too or not?
You have 40 feet of movement in your tiger form. It's normal movement.
I will charge.
Okay.
I'll leap over the guards and attempt to knock this guy down. I have to hit with a claw.
Yep. Using your pounce attack on him?
Correct.
That is most definitely a hit.
Is a DC save of 14 and any additional things due to my extra large size?
I mean, it just adds a D4 damage.
Yeah, it has a D4.
D4 extra damage is all.
Strength. You have advantage on strength saves, and you're bigger.
You look really big.
And he has to make a DC 14 saving throw.
It's 15 actually.
Oh, 15, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I could make it 14 if you want to make it easier for him
No,
to
I'm
pass.
good. I
Okay.
don't know if my weighing 8 times my normal mass will actually
You mean increase the difficulty of the strength saving throw?
correct, because I'm 8 times heavier.
I understand where you're going from, but no. To try and simplify it and not get crazy with the number crunch and the math, I'm just going to say, yeah, no. It's a simple DC 15 strength save or knock prone, which he succeeds. So you guys, he reaches out and grabs your enlarged form, your paws, and he just sort of pushes you back as you scratched and slashed across his face. So you kind of push him back a little bit, but he is not knocked prone.
Okay.
And he's just sort of roaring in your face now.
That will end my turn.
Okay. And in response to this enlarged tiger that rushes and attacks him, he is going to... Let's see. He's going to attempt to punch you in the face. So he just sort of rears back, and you just sort of duck and feel the bottom of his hand as it rushes the top of your head, your furred head. And he misses. And Auri, it's your turn.
Okay, am I able to get around Lorana there, or am I gonna fall into the water?
There we go. You're enlarged. Well, Lorana is currently standing on what you could see as a raised stone area on this bridge. There's like these two guardrails on the other side of the stone bridge.
Okay, I'm just gonna use all my movement speed to get up there.
Okay.
And that's all I can do my turn.
Alright, so you go, just see the Auri's bear form just boom, 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 rushing towards this other ogre that is roaring and challenging and holding this large club, is bashing it on the ground in front of you, Auri. And Ender, it's your turn.
I'm gonna run to that position, and then I'm gonna shoot the ogre bolt launcher.
Okay. He is currently going to get 3/4 cover from your attack, but you missed anyway. That guardrail is blocking your line of sight to him, like fully.
Oh, okay. Alright, now I'm going to... I guess I'm going to end my turn.
Okay. We have reached 10 o'clock, so if you guys want to continue on a little bit, we can. Otherwise, we can find a place to come to an end at the end of this round.
I can keep going, it just depends on the people that have things they have to do tomorrow.
I understand.
I'm fine.
I guess that's up to Tiger Man.
That's you, Mark.
What's that? I'm sorry. What?
I was saying that we've come to 10 o'clock, so I wanted to try and, respect everyone's time and either end at the end of this round. Okay. We'll see where this goes. I like how basically Gunthroll has turned into like a furry version of the Hulk right now.
Animal buds for life.
Animal buds for life. Alright. Well, if that's the end of your turn, Go-Ender, then the blade now, seeing this massive furry tiger leap over his head, just sort of falls on the ground and moves back a bit, going, fuck! And that's his turn. Kasha's turn. Kasha is going to run forth as far as she can to engage and assist. Actually, no. We'll move her back because she can still reach. And Kasha will attempt to slash at the chain ogre with her claw, which she hits. And the chain ogre fails his save and is knocked prone. And she just sort of looks at you and just sort of does a little chuff, like... It's like, that's how it's done. And on the ogre's turn, he is going to, seeing this bear rushing in his face, he takes his great club and he attempts to whack you in the face, Auri. And he misses you.
I'm a very lithe bear.
A very lithe bear. Eli, it is your turn. There's this row going on in the center of this bridge right now. You just see all the enlarged forms of your friends. Your enlarged tiger friend. The forms of the ogres as they're attempting to attack your friends.
Oh. Right there. And Eli will cast Fireball.
Oh, you're casting Fireball? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that you can't see that point where you're trying to drop it. Because don't you have to see where you're going to drop it?
Yes. Let me...
like, I would say if you wanted to drop it behind where that ogre bolt launcher was, the first one, you could.
I'll move up to there.
Okay.
Look out.
You can't see it over that railing.
Yeah, the railing's as tall as you are. It's like a stone railing. It's meant to like protect vehicles from like coming off the road into the stream.
Yeah, it's taller than you are.
Like I said, you could do it. You could do a sidestep to the south, and you could drop it behind that ogre bolt launcher one.
You mean over here by this guy?
Yeah.
Right here. Would that? Can I see that where I put it? Or is that too far?
If you move to like here, you could see it.
Okay. Yeah. There, I can get the two of them.
Okay.
And cast Fireball!
There is a sudden... As you coalesce and form the somatic and vocal components of your spell, it ignites this cinder in between your hands, and a massive fireball explodes behind the two ogres. And they both fail their saves.
Nice.
And just, the backs of them, you just see, like, are fricasseed. One of them is gone in the fireball for a moment, and as it coalesces and dissipates, you can see him standing there blackened, and he's slapping the side of his legs trying to put the fire out.
And I'll end my turn right there.
Okay. Lorana sort of skidded to a halt watching that fireball erupt. She does a little Scooby-Doo skid to a halt and just sort of like panics for a moment, and then turns her attention to the prone form of the ogre chain brute, and she will attempt to slash at him with her claws, which she hits. She then lunges forth. Oh, actually no. She's going to do a second claw attack because she gets 2. And she hits the second one as well. And she just sort of mauls him, just slashing at his arm, cutting his surface of his skin to ribbons as she does so, blood flying and splattering onto the cobblestone bridge. And Lithana, it's your turn.
Okay. Alright, she's going to finish off this, this big.
This big. Yes, he is big. That is most definitely a hit. As you knock an arrow and fire it across the stream towards the enormous ogre, you sink the arrow into his chest, sticking out of his right pectoral.
And I'll make my second attack.
And that is also a hit.
Can then roll your extra die.
Yeah, it did not last. You have to drop it on yourself each time. For some reason, it's not lasting.
Okay. Should I just roll a d6?
Yeah, just roll a d6 and I'll add the damage to him. Is that 2 more damage?
Did it kid him?
It did not.
That's the end of my turn.
Okay. On the ogre's turn, he's going to continue to attempt to wail on Auri with his great club, slamming down. But Auri just manages, in her bear form, to go and back up and take a step back as the great club smashes and splinters into the stone. The ogre looks pissed now, and it looks like it's getting ready to grapple with Auri. The ogre chain brute is going to use half of his movement to stand up, and he turns his attention to Lorana, who most recently attacked him. And takes his chain and brings it down. Oops, I guess I should take that off of you. For some reason I have myself targeted. Why would I want to attack myself? I don't want to do that. And manages to hit Lorana. You hear the sound of the cat just screech as she is smashed with this chain. But Lorana takes the hit and doesn't budge and is now growling. And the chain brute, which had this wicked grin on his face before, the grin just sort of falls. And he's now looking and realizing he's surrounded by 3 of these things. And what he just tried to do did nothing. And he's going to try to back away from you all. So he'll take opportunity attacks.
Oh, yeah.
From the 3 of you. So you can take your opportunity attack. I'll let you have the honors, Gunthral.
Can I attempt to trip him instead? Is that the same or just regular attack?
If you want to use your action, you can try to trip him. That would be essentially, he just would make a... I'll tell you what, I'll say strength versus dex. Make a strength check and he'll make a dex check.
You have it at advantage.
He's a -1 for his dex check, so he rolled a 13. Okay, you kick his foot, grab him with one of your clawed paws. You reach out and real fast grab his foot, and he falls prone.
With a bonus action, I can bite him.
And I'll drop that effect on him. There we go. He's prone again.
And I'll use bonus action.
I'll move him back. And I would say that go ahead and take your bite. Lorana and Kasha will still get their opportunity attacks on him.
I'm trying to go for his neck if possible.
Go for it. And that's a hit. As your mouth opens, your enlarged incisors clamp down on his neck, taking a chunk out of it, and you can just see arterial blood spraying out of his neck now as he's just sort of, and he's scrambling, trying to pull himself away from you. And Kasha will slash out with her claws, hitting him, and you watch as she just reaches out with her claw, slashes in the same spot where you bit, and rips out his trachea. And he just makes a horrible death rattle as he falls, slumps dead onto the cobblestone, his blood now staining the cobblestone. Is that the... let's see, I believe it was Orc Bolt Launcher 1's turn. Now, sidestepping a bit. Oh, that's the wrong guy. Whoops, put him back. So this guy just sort of steps into the water a bit to put the flames out that he was fanning, and levels his bolt launcher at you, Eli. And you hear that familiar sound of as the bolt crashes into the side of the stone, sticking out of it, just sort of the wood is now just sort of vibrating for a moment before going still. And Gunthroll, it is your turn again.
I will.
Gunthroll begins bounding across the cobblestone bridge, turning around. The grass around the road and the stone is now blackened from Eli's fireball. As you turn around, you see this creature which has just attempted to fire another bolt at Eli. This now about calf high into the stream.
And I cannot attack.
Did you go 40?
I did 35.
You got 35? You got another 5.
Well, I'm against him right now.
Oh, you are against them. Haha! Let me make that bigger. No, I'm just kidding.
Just make it the size of the map.
Yeah, why not?
And attack him.
Go right ahead. I believe you have, yeah. You have your bite attack, your slash attack. That is most definitely a hit, as your elongated claws find purchase in the back of his soft flesh, slashing across his back. He screeches, nearly drops his bolt launcher in his hand.
And I'm not.
On Kasha's turn, Kasha will bound around. Whipping around. Whoops. Haha. I'm dancing. Whips around and turns her attention to the ogre that's been attempting to bash Auri. And in quick succession slashes with her claws. First attack just managing to miss. The second one slashing into the back of his calf, nearly tearing the calf muscle off of the back of his leg.
Would she have an advantage for being the opposite?
Oh, you're right. Let me roll another attack then. Thank you for reminding me. That is also a hit. So she now completely rips the muscle off of this guy's leg, and he's a bit hobbled now, on one knee down. The Deneth blade now is just sort of moves a little further into the overturned cart now, and just sort of babbling nonsense incoherently. The other orc launcher, bolt launcher, now steps like he wanted to before I realized he wasn't. Levels his bolt launcher at Lithana, and with a wicked grin on his face, lets it loose as it boom, impacting in front of your feet, Lithana, doing nothing to you, and he's just now and roaring, just pissed off. And go Ender, it's your turn.
Can I make this leap?
You can walk across the water. It would be half your movement. So essentially, it would reduce your movement by 10. You could also get into the water and just go at him.
Can I hop in? Can I? All right, then can I move there? If it's half my movement, let's see here. That's 15 feet. Yeah, I should be able to. Can I hit him?
You can totally get there.
All right, I'm gonna jump into the water.
Okay. This
Attack.
ogre is clearly not very happy right now. He's attempting to load another bolt into his bolt launcher as he looks at you, his eyes widening with surprise that you've leapt into the water and come at him with your attack. And you bring your sword down, slashing into his chest. Just an explosion of blood splatting out and hitting the water. and droplets coming off of your sword as you bring it down in a slashing fashion. And you, in the opposite direction now, slashing across from left to right, slash him once again. And lop his head off, but at an angle. So at an angle, half of his head lops off and goes off into the distance, into the wet, muddy earth behind the embankment of the stream that you're standing in. Is that the end of your turn?
No, I'd like to action surge.
Okay.
Move to there, and end my turn.
Okay. And Auri, it's your
turn. Basically what that was, I wanted it to look like I just simply walked on the water as I passed.
It just sort of do a power walk across the water?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna attack this big ugly brat in front of me.
Okay. That, unfortunately, is a natural 1.
That is indeed a natural 1. Okay, my bite misses.
So your mouth just sort of... You reach out as he started to, like, go down on one knee. He moved away from where you thought he was going to be, and your mouth just sort of snapped shut a few inches away from him. Sure, why not? She bit her tongue and took a point of damage.
No! Why, Adam?
I'm just kidding.
Okay. My claws actually hit him.
There you go. As your big furry clawed hand rakes across his face now, slashing and putting out one of his eyes. And his one hand now reaches up, that's not holding a weapon, the great club, and just sort of... Oh!
Alright, and that's the end of my turn.
Okay. The Denise blades are now huddled together, holding each other inside of the overturned cart, just sort of staring at the tiger form of Lorana as she sort of slowly pads across the top of this stone railing. And on Kasha's turn, Kasha is going to attempt to bite this guy in the back of his head, which she does so. And there's this sickening crunch as she crushes into his skull, nearly cracking his skull. And the Denith blades continue to do nothing in the cart. Lorana hops down from the railing and then rushes towards the ogre, and she attempts to slash with her claws at the ogre, and whoops, I didn't target. I meant to target. And rakes both of her claws out, screeching, growling at the same time, and just rips the bottom of his jaw off of his face. And Auri, you watch as Lorana, this meek and mild Lorana in her tiger form, just mauls this ogre in front of you.
I am impressed.
And she immediately sets on him, just sicks on him, and just starts just gnawing and tearing into his flesh. Would you like to do anything else?
Oh, it's me? Okay. I'm gonna just change back into my human form, because my plan is to go back to the guys over here. I don't want to scare them.
Okay. I reduced the size of your bear.
And I'll walk over there.
Okay.
And that's the end of my turn.
Eli, it's your turn. This guy's getting ready to load another bolt. Looks like he's getting ready to fire at you yet again. But you can see Godfrey looming behind him.
I'm going to look at him and kind of smile. I'm going to firebolt him.
Okay. That is most definitely a hit. as you arc out like a softball, this fireball that engulfs his head, and he's once again caught on fire. His beard, his mutton chops are burning, and it's just horrible smell of burnt hair.
And I'm going to go around here and hide.
Okay. And Gunthroll, it is your turn. Gunthroll just sort of leaps on him. That is most definitely a hit. And Gunthroll, you leap on him with your claws, slashing into the back of his neck. He yells out, and then pitches forth into the stream, his blood now spreading in the water. And he is dead, and you guys are out of combat.
Gunthroll's gonna bite him around the neck and drag his body up on the shore. Or feast.
Start feasting on him. And you now hear Gunthroll from up on the bridge, Owry attempting to calm these two soldiers who clearly freaked the fuck out.
Are you men all right? What happened?
The tigers! The ogres!
Yes. Okay, the ogres are dead. The tigers are my friends, okay? Are either of you hurt?
And it's just sort of looking down, and he's soiled himself now. You can see that his pants are wet around his groin. Who are you?
It's okay. My friends and I are only here to help.
And you can hear you saying this over the sounds of wet smacking and crunching coming from behind you on the bridge. And glancing over, you can see Ender walking by. Lorana and Kasha in tiger form are just devouring the corpse of this ogre.
Yeah. Don't look over there.
He just sort of and faints and leans against the back of the overturned cart. The other man is just sort of looking at you, his eyes wide. He looks to his friend, and he says, Who are you people?
We were just passing through. We saw trouble, and we figured we could help. But what happened?
We were taking supplies. We were taking supplies to the border, and we were set upon by these ogres, and they killed half of our contingent. And the rest of us, unfortunately, Tim is dead. I saw that man completely decimated by those creatures. Thank the gods that you arrived when you did, but are you sure that we're safe with those beasts? And he starts pointing towards the enormous tiger, which is padding across the stone towards the feast that is going on.
Yeah, it's best not to watch. It gets a little ugly, but they are my friends, and I won't let them hurt you.
Of course. We need to reach out to our house and seek help. Can you help us?
Eli, could you clean him up?
Yes. I will advise you that my big friend right there, he's attracted to magical things. So if you have any magic on you, I would drop it.
And he looks to you and he says, I don't have any items, but I can give you this. And he hands over a little silver badge in the shape of the crest of House Deneath. And he says, here, you can present this at any enclave, and they will give you an escort of your choice or a favor. You only ask and show this crest. And he doesn't know quite who to give it to. He's holding it up towards Owry, but then he just sort of looks at you, Eli, like he wants to give it to you. And he's looking back at Owry. Whoever is closest, then we'll take it from him.
Eli will grab it.
Of course you will.
I'm going to lose concentration on the large, so he goes back to medium size.
Okay. So Gotham just sort of goes, shoop, and now he's a regular tiger.
Yeah, right as he hands it to me. See, I told you it works every time. And then Eli's going to start walking away. Back to the car.
Could you come back and do that thing to clean this guy up for Eli? Come back, please.
Oh, okay, he comes back.
Eli, with a grin on his face, turns and looks back, just sort of chuckling to himself.
I'll come back and cast Prestidigitation on both of them to make them look.
Okay.
They're all better, and I'll cast Mending. All right, least I can do, and I kind of smile and walk away again.
Thanks.
And in the distance, you can hear the sound of thunder, and you can see that there are storm clouds on the horizon to the east of you. And you can, from your position, it's about midday. You can see that the sun is starting to is high up in the air, and you can see that the rains are starting to spread out from the forest. The forest to the northeast is absolutely getting drenched by the torrential downpour. Standing now in the middle of this cobblestone bridge, the sounds of wet smacking from the tigers feasting on the bodies of the ogres. Your companions all gathering together and attempting to calm these two soldiers who were clearly upset. And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
You're talking to me, but your mic's not. Okay, he doesn't want to say.
He doesn't want to say? But why?
He's trying to make a bad guy.
I don't know.
Suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Oh, I just brought it up because it's just funny. But, okay, Derek. Alright, cool. Cool beans.
You can have your secrets.
Keep your secrets.